Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we'll be continuing with the To-Do application which we had already started. Let me run the application and show you the progress. So this was the progress so far, and now we'll be continuing with the list view and a button to add an item to the list. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, let me add a list model. Let's keep this list model outside of the column layout so it doesn't look that bad. I'll give the ID of my list to-do list model or to-do model for short, right? And list element. Let's it will have two properties. The first will be the uh, task name or simply task. It will be a string. For example, let's say finish the lecture, and the other thing it could be a status of some sort. For example, I mean, we could use a checkbox and have the states of the checkbox, or we could have used this thing. Whichever suits us. Anyway, for now, let's go with task. After that, if we want, we can add another property. So let me add few tasks. Finish the lecture. Code on my own. Improve the UI UX and upload on GitHub. This is very important, guys. You should upload on your GitHub to improve your portfolios. So we are done with the list model. Now what's remaining is the list view. So instead of item fill height true, I'll say list view and fill height true and also fill width true. Let me see how other things are done. So I'll copy this and I'll paste here. Margins after this. Now list view is a model, so I already have a model called to-do model, and also I will add a component delegate after this. To-do delegate, I'll say rectangle. Excuse me. And the delegate has to-do delegate. After that, give some spacing. I'll give a spacing of, let's say, 4. I think 4 is good enough. So also I'll say bounce behavior, flickable dot stop at bounce, and I'll say scroll bar dot vertical. I have to add a custom scroll bar. I forgot that I already had added a custom scroll bar here. My duration was 0 here. You can add any duration you want. So I taught this in the previous lecture, right? So I taught you that. So yeah. Now what's remaining is the delegate. So I'll say width will be nothing but let me give it a to-do list name ID. So I'll say to-do list dot width, and height of each item should get a height of, let's say, 50. Now the color of the rectangle depends. What's the color of this? It's 1E, so I'll say 36. Right now, radius of, let's say, 12. Good enough. Inside this there is a row layout. I'll say width parent dot width and anchors are centered in parent, or we could, instead of that we could have simply said vertical center. The height of the row layout will depend upon the height of its inner items. So first of all, let's add a text, and the text will be this delegate requires two things, right? Required property task, because my model was named task here, right? So this string task is required property string task. Also we need index for removing and all this stuff, right? Index, we need that. So the text will be nothing but task, font size of let's say 13, color white obviously. So overview of the delegate is done. Now after the delegate is assigned, we'll be adding a button, layout.alignment, q.align edge center, and the text of the button will be add item, right? And this text could be white in color. So for now, let's add a content item, text, color. Instead of color, first the text will be add item or add task, font size. What was the font size of the delegate? 13. 13 is too large. 12 is good enough. 12 is good enough. So 12, color of white. And here also vertical alignment, text dot align in the center, and horizontal alignment, text dot align edge center, and the background of the button will be a rectangle, angles dot fill parent. Color will be a green color. I already chosen a color here. This thing. Radius of let's say 10, and I think that's it. On clicked, I'll say to do model dot append. Now here you have to provide the JSON file. Sorry, you have to provide the JSON, right? So it has only one property now. Each list element has only one property, task. So I'll simply say task and new task, right? So I can say plus and to do model dot count. So it will say new task 1, new task 2. To do model dot count shows how many items are there in the model, right? So if I click here and press F1, it will say count number of data entries. So let's say my model initially has 4 elements, so the count will be 4. So I should say count plus 1 because the new item will be task number 5, right? So if I have 4 items, if I click on this button, it will say it will add a new item to the model. It will be new task 5 because count is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. So it will say new task 5, right? So JavaScript way of adding a string and an integer, concatenating that to a string. So I hope this part you're not getting confused. I made a previous video, basic thing. I exactly did the same, right? So let's see if everything is alright. Okay, very congested. We should have given some more spacing. I think spacing of let's say 8 should be good enough. Also, the items are very close to the borders. So instead of that, I'll say you cannot say no layout something. So what can I do? I'll say layout dot fill width true and layout dot left margin of let's say 10, layout dot right margin of let's say 10. I think this is good enough. Let's add more tasks, and as you can see, we can scroll, right? But if you see this flicking thing, is not see if you see this, it will try to cover this above thing, right? Because clipping is not done. The item is out of the visual area of the list view, but it's still visible, right? So to cut that, to clip that, there is a property called clip, CLIP. You have to set it to true. So anything which is beyond the width and height of the list view, it will cut that. So now if you add more items, and see it is cutting it properly as expected, right? So add task, I think it's not very good enough. Excuse me. The button, we should also set the implicit height of to let's say 32 and implicit width, or let's say left padding and right padding, right? Left padding of let's say 20, right padding of let's say 20. Left and right padding means the space between the border and the text. I think this is good enough, I guess. Also, we should have added more top and bottom padding. Let's change the height to 40. I think 40 is a good height. But as you can see, there is an issue. If you put the mouse over it, there is no hovering effect, right? So we should change the color. It looks very bad. So if I say buttons, I'll say hover enabled true. Hover enabled. Why is hover enabled not true? Buttons should have hover enabled property. I think button by default enables hover. So I'll say add item button, and I'll say add item button dot hovered, then q dot darker. So whatever color you give, it will make it darker, but you have to provide a number. So I'll say 1.1. So 1 is 100%. 1.1 means 10% more darker. So if this color is red, it will be 10% more darker than red. If it's 1.4, 40% more darker than red. But for now, 10% more darker is good enough. Actually, we should have done lighter, because for dark theme, making it darker doesn't make much sense. As you can see, it's a bit more darker, but a bit lighter would have been more sense. But anyway, who cares, right? So instead of left and right pairing, right, let's do something. Let's give it some implicit preferred width, layout preferred width of let's say 200. I think that would be much better. I think this is good enough, and implicit height should be replaced with layout preferred height. That is better, I guess. So because this is inside a layout, so I think this is good enough, guys. I guess. And hover enabled is there by default. So as you can see, we have added an item. Now, okay, so 71, 81. Why is that? Okay, because that is a string concatenation, right? What's happening is this is a string. You are adding some number to it, so both of them become a string, and you are adding another one. So there is a famous joke in JavaScript. So one, so the string one plus the number one is not two, it's actually string 11, right? So what's happening is this whole string is becoming a new string, and you are adding one. So what's happening is it will become new task 5, and you are adding one to that string. The string is new task 5, right? So it will become new task 51. Basic JavaScript mistake which I did. So you have to add parentheses here. So this mathematical operation is performed first, then add it to the string. Now it will work properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct. Now it's working properly, right? So add one more, and scroll bar is also visible properly, right? Add some more, and as you can see, scrolling is also proper. Now the to-do list is almost done. What's left is editing an item and the states thing, right? And also deleting an item. So let's focus on delete now. So let me steal some icons. So I'll say for delete, let me choose a good icon. is the color to white, and download. And I'll paste it in my location. And I'll add it here. Add existing files. You can obviously rename this icon. I'll just rename this, or this icon delete thing, you can rename it to simply delete. And just copy the URL. And so let me open the delegate. Let's collapse the list view for now. Let's collapse the button for now. Open the delegate. So row layout. After that we'll have an image, and the source of the image will be that thing. And the width and height of the image, I'll say layout.preferred width of, let's say, 14. Layout.preferred height of, let's say, 14. Layout.alignment q.prime edge center, not edge center, actually V center, vertically centered. And let's see if the image is added. The image is added. I think we should increase the width and height. 20 would be good enough, and also some right margin. Let's see. This is good enough, but on clicking this, nothing happens. So what we can do is, I'll say, I think we can do that. Mouse area is a good option. Yeah, we should do that. Let's go with mouse area. I think this is very fast way of doing this. So I'll say on clicked. I'll say my to-do model dot remove index. Index is provided here. So you can give this a rectangle an ID and access the index, or directly do that. Giving it an ID and something like delegate dot index, I think that is much better. But anyway, for now we can go with this. This is also not wrong. But to be more specific is obviously a wiser choice, right? As you can see, this is working perfectly fine. So deleting is also working. Now what's left is editing. So let's do one thing before editing. When item is added, we'll be showing a pop-up that new item created, something like that. So let's add a method here in pop-up. So I'll say a function. This file is generated. Okay. My Qt created an issue, guys. I'll add a function here, so called show pop-up, and I'll call this function from outside, from the main.qml file. What it will do is it will set control dot. Okay, so this function will take a parameter called display text, and I'll say control dot pop-up text equal to display text control dot open. So it will open the pop-up and it will set the text, right? So I just need to call this method show pop-up. So on clicked, I'll add the item and I'll say show. I'll say notification pop-up, the ID dot. I'll call the method name. The method name is show pop-up, and the text will be item added successfully. So very simple. This is a method called show pop-up. Let me build the application once. Very simple, right? So this notification pop-up, this thing, it has a method. The method name is called show pop-up, and you pass a string here. It will set the display string and it will open the pop-up. Very simple thing, right? So let's see. As you can see, item added successfully. Uh, I have to reduce the height and all because this doesn't look very good right now. So I thought it was good. Height should be only 40. Height is 40, and the width and height of this will be only 32. Let's see. So something is wrong. Let's see. So the circle should be smaller. I'll say 24, and this will be image will be 20. Let's see now. This actually still doesn't look very good to me because the search bar is completely being covered. What can we do to fix this? We can either show the pop-up here or above. Okay, let's leave it for now. I think I'm not a very good designer, so let's leave it for now. Also, on deletion, we should show a warning sign, deleted successfully or something, right? So actually, it should not be in green color; it should be in red color. But for now, let's go with it. So in the to do delegate, when the remove is done, so I'll say notification pop-up dot show pop-up. Here I'll say deleted successfully. Item deleted successfully. Yeah. Let's see. Also, let's change the timing duration. Sorry. Once 1 second is good enough. Okay, I think this is good enough, right? So I should have changed the background color. This is the background color 236. I think this will look much better compared to what. Let's see. No, never mind. What color is the? Just give me a minute, guys. I'll try to fix the color thing. So why is this color so dark? Let me change the color to. Let's see now. But guys, I'll just change what was there. I thought this would be much better, but you know, yeah, I think this is good enough, right? So the text color will be black. So I'll say 1E. This, not this, the text color. Yeah. Now I think this is good enough. I think this is good enough. Like we cannot go any more better from this, but we can do that. Actually, I'm not a designer, so forgive me for that. So we are done with delete. Now the remaining thing left is edit. So after edit, we have to finish the search. A bit more things to do. I think it will take more 15 minutes more. So let's go with it, right? So for the edit, we have to have a pen icon here. So let me steal a pen icon. Let's see if there is any good pen icon. Let's just search edit. Let's change the color to white. Done. Download SVG. Edit to the images. Now in the delegate, before this image thing, we'll be adding edit.svg. Now let's comment this out and see if the edit actually happened or not. Like, did we actually get the edit or not? So we got the edit. There is a bit of spacing, right margin. Don't need any right margin here. The size is varying. Let's see. A full pen would have been much better. Like a solid filled pen would have been much better. But let's go with this, right? We can obviously change the icons and all this stuff. So on clicking this, it will be deleted. But on clicking the edit thing, also let's change the cursor here. So I'll say cursor shape, q dot pointing point hand cursor. So the cursor is also visible, so we can see that editing is being done here. So now let's see. So as you can see, the cursor is happening, so we can see that there is an action to be performed here. Uh, so now what we can do is, if we click on this, we can open a pop-up here, and the pop-up we have to type the new data, and on clicking on save, we have to edit this item, right? So let's do that. Let's add another pop-up here. Excuse me. No, I think we need to create a custom pop-up here. I'll say. Okay, so if I click here, this will be added as a resource. So I'll say add new QML file utils slash pop-up. Actually, we should rename this to not remove rename to edit pop-up. I think this is good enough, right? Thank you for your patience. Let's now copy all of this shit and paste here. Actually, we don't need a lot of fancy things. We need a lot of height, so we don't need a lot of width. I think 200 width is fine, but the height will be 400. Padding will be a lot, 30. Background will be gray, so I'll say 4040. No need of border width. Modal will be true because we need the grayness around it, and no need for timer. We need the pop-up text, but we have to edit it also, right? So instead of row layout, it will be column layout. Bear with me, you will understand what I'm doing. The first thing will be uh, custom text field. Yeah. Let's see what's inside custom text field. So search image. No, we don't need actually a search image. So we have to modify this text field. So we cannot just say custom text field. I'll simply say text field. And I'll say the ID will be uh, edit text. There is no need for placeholder text. I'll simply say text. It's nothing but control.popup text. We'll be passing this. I'll show you exactly what's going on, just for now bear with me. What will happen is when you click on the edit icon, right? When you click on this edit icon, this current text which is finish the lecture will be copied to the pop-up, like this pop-up. It will be finish the lecture, and the user will be able to edit that icon. So you can say finish the lecture number 5 or finish the lecture number 7 or something else, like redo the lecture or something. And when he clicks on save button, this finish the lecture here will be updated to the new thing which the user wants. So that's why I'm using this pop-up text. I'll be passing the correct text and then we'll be modifying that, right? So I'll say text color and all I think is decently set enough, but the background for the text I think it should be more lighter. So I'll say 777. Right now we already had a text field. After that we'll be having a button called save. I'll copy the exact button which we used here. This thing. I'll copy this exact thing. And instead of add item button, I'll say save button. Save button. No need for, okay, we need edge center. Yeah. We need prefer height. Yeah. We need prefer width. Yep. Width, I think will be more, I guess 300, I guess. Yeah. We need a preferred width. Yeah. We got it. Content item will be update task. Yep. Color green, good enough. Here we have to perform some task, right? So what we can do is I'll show you signal and slot, but for now let's at least open this pop-up. But for that we have to have an edit pop-up here. We have to create a component, edit pop-up. ID will be edit item pop-up, and I'll say anchors dot. I don't think there is an anchor centering here. Let's see. Let's build this. Yep. Now let's see. Anchors are centered to parent. I think in the center it will be good enough. So I'll say when you click on the edit image, edit pop-up dot show pop-up, and if you remember, the show pop-up will open the pop-up and it will set the this text to this value, and this text is binded to the text field. So initially the text will be this value and we are changing this value. So I hope you got my point, right? So I'll say pop-up text will be nothing but task, the text we're getting in the model. I hope you're not getting confused. We were displaying the task, right? What was the task? Let's see the model. Where is the model layer? Here. So these are the tasks, right? We are passing this to each delegate. We are passing the task to each delegate, and now we are passing that to the pop-up so that we can edit it later, right? But first, at least show something, so you'll be seeing in action, and you will better understand that. If I click on edit, looks very bad, but at least you can see that the finish the lecture pop-up has appeared, right? And this is exactly what we wanted, that at least we are able to send this data, right? So if I click on update task, nothing happens. If I click on escape, also nothing happens. There should be a way to close this. I'll do that, but for now, if I set code on my own and click on edit, at least that text is appearing here, right? Which is some progress, right? So how is it appearing? We are clicking on show pop-up and we are passing the string. Now this method is setting this property, right? With the help of this. Let's me say, oh my god, here. So this property is being set, and this property is binded to the text field. So if this changes, this text will also change, right? And after that, when you edit this, then this binding is gone, right? So I hope you got my point. Now it was looking very bad, so we have to obviously fix this, right? So I'll say no need for left and right, that much left padding, only 16 is more than enough. And I'll say layout.fill with true. Also, there is no need for that much height. 200 is good enough. No need for that much padding. 10 is good enough. Also, the radius is too much. We don't need that much radius. A radius of 16 is good enough. Let's see now. Let's set the model to false for now, because there's no way to close the application otherwise. But after we're done, we'll click on set to true. I think the pop-up's background has to change. This will be 1E and this will be 36. I think now this is good enough. And now if I set model to true, and on clicking on the button, I'll say control.close. At least close the pop-up for now. I hope you are not getting confused. I'll go again very slowly. I think this is good enough. If I click on update task, it will close, but it will not do anything major, significant. I think this height of 150 is the perfect height. Yeah, this is perfect. And the coloring is also, I think, perfect. Yeah, I think this is perfect, right? Now what's left is to update the actual thing. So for that we need a signal. Now if you remember what a signal and slot is, I'll say signal update list text, or list just text is good enough, and I'll say new text. So this thing will be fired from this class, right? What's this unexpected token? Okay, I have to set it as var, or you can set it as a string, right? Let's go with var for now, or you could also have passed it as a string. Both will work fine. Let's go with string. So before closing, fire this signal, and what will be the text? The text will be this text fields current text value. So text fields current text value is text, right? So I hope you got my point. Like what's happening is we are sending the data, which is this thing. Finish the lecture. We are passing that to the text field here, and after that we are editing it. So this text value will change, and after clicking on the save button, we are sending the new text with the help of this signal back to main, right? So here I'll say on, what was the name of the signal? Update list text, right? So on update, where U is capital, update list text. You can use a fat arrow function or simply function. You have to just give it a build once, then it will be able to handle this signal. Yeah, now it's able to handle it. So the string was new text, right? So when this signal is fired, what you have to do is you have to set. Okay, now this is a challenge. You also have to know which index will be updated, right? Because this index is lost here. This pop-up is a new, entirely different thing. We cannot get the index, so we have to also pass the index when opening the pop-up. So I'll say show pop-up display text comma index, and here I'll say property int index. Initially it is -1, or you could just not set it anyhow, right? And after that I'll also pass it back, right? I'll say control dot index equal to this index which you passed, and when you update it, also update the index. I hope you are getting my point. If this is confusing, like just think of it like this. In the delegate you have the index, but you are opening this pop-up. This pop-up is a entirely new place. This is in a new place. This is not inside the column layout. This does not have any index property. So how will you be able to, for example, let's say to-do list remove index, right? So how will you remove index or update index, right? How will you do that? So for that you need the index. So that is exactly why we stored it. So now we have the property index here, right? In the edit pop-up, you have the index here. We can use either this index or we can use this index. Both is fine. So I'll now say to do model dot set property. There is a method called set property in a list model. So let me zoom out a bit and let me show you all the methods. So this is set, and so we can either do set and or we can do set property. So if you only want to set a single property, you can use set property, or you can use a set. Okay, let's do set. It is much easier to do that, right? So this function takes two parameters. If you remember, update list text, this signal sends two things to us, new text and index. That's why I added two things, and I'll be using this index and I want to set the new value. So I'll say task, this task is this one. So this list element will be updated. The new value is new text, right? Let's see now. Okay, so some issues going on. Cannot assign undefined to int. So control dot, set it to -1. Hmm. Cannot assign undefined to it. So this index is being undefined. Why? When you call show pop-up, are we not passing the index? Hmm. Let's see the delegate. We are not passing the index in the edit. We also have to pass the index. Otherwise, how will it get it, right? Let's see now. As you can see, it updated, right? This is the lecture properly. And it updated, right? So I hope this was not very confusing for you guys. We can also add a notification like item updated successfully. Just call the notification pop-up.show. Don't need this pop-up text now, right? This thing, I hope this was not very difficult for you. I'll again go through it. What we did, we stored the index, we stored the current text, right? You could have also skipped this and directly set this edit text dot text equal to. You could have also done that. That was also a good solution, but anyway, I kept it as it is for my own like clarity. Like also we made a signal, so we can emit this signal anywhere in our code. We emitted it when we clicked on the button. So now this signal is fired. We handled the signal here because this edit pop-up fired it, right? This edit pop-up thing fired the signal. So obviously edit pop-up here will handle the signal. When we handled it, we set the new index and like we handled this thing properly here, right? So that was it. And I don't think that was very complex. I guess if you still face any difficulty, you can like tell me. I'll record a new video for that portion again. But I hope this was a bit more clear to you. Search functionality also can be implemented, but I think this will be a very lengthy video. I think already 50 minutes are over. But for search, it's very easy. You have to just search in a string, like string matching algorithm will be performed. So let's skip it for now. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day. This was a to-do